BBC News with Sue Montgomery. The US tax returns of Donald Trump that have been made public by a congressional committee reveal the former president paid very little in income taxes in some of his years in office. Mr. Trump had been battling for years to keep the documents secret. He's condemned the release. The Democratic Congressman Lloyd Doggett is a member of the committee that published the tax returns.
There's nothing about this that applies to the tax returns of ordinary Americans. The President of the United States is unique in his situation, in his power, in his ability to affect what goes on in our government and the world, and he should have been subject to the same audit that applies now to Joe Biden and applied to many presidents before America ever had the misfortune of Trump becoming president.
A court in Mali has sentenced 46 soldiers from Ivory Coast to prison. They were arrested on arrival in Bamako in July and accused of being mercenaries. The Ivorian authorities said the soldiers had been sent to assist the UN mission there. Our Africa regional editor Will Ross reports.
The 20-year prison sentences for the Ivorian soldiers appear to be the Mali military government's way of saying it won't listen to threats from the African Union. The AU said it would impose sanctions if the soldiers were not released by New Year's Day. In a somewhat difficult-to-explain twist, death sentences were handed down to 3 female soldiers who were released on humanitarian grounds in September. They returned to Ivory Coast and were sentenced in absentia. After a trial that no one was allowed to observe, the fate of the 46 soldiers could now be in the hands of Mali's military ruler, Colonel Assimi Goïta.
The Spanish government has announced that it will strip honours from police officers involved in state repression during the dictatorship of General Franco. The decision was made by the Interior Minister, Fernando Grande Marlaska, from the governing left-wing coalition. Here's Steve Jackson.
Franco ruled Spain from the end of the Civil War in 1939 until his death in 1975, a period in which he crushed opposition to his rule. The police played a big role in stamping out dissent, and many officers were honoured for their loyalty in this task. But under a new law aimed at addressing Franco's legacy, they will now be stripped of their medals and other honours. It isn't clear how many former officers will be affected, but it has been confirmed that one notorious former police torturer, Antonio González Pacheco, who died in 2020, is on the list.
At least 3 people, including 2 policemen, have been killed in an attack on a checkpoint in Egypt. The authorities say 2 vehicles approached the checkpoint in the city of Ismailia, close to the Suez Canal, and opened fire. Police returned fire, killing one of the 2 assailants, but the other escaped. You're listening to the World News from the BBC. The social media personality Andrew Tate and his brother Tristan have been remanded in custody by a court in Romania for 30 days. They were initially detained on Thursday, along with 2 Romanians, on charges including sex trafficking, rape and organised crime. Nick Thorpe has more details.
Andrew Tate's lawyer told the BBC that he and his brother Tristan deny all the charges. The lawyer said on their behalf that they were very disappointed by the judge's decision to remand them in custody, and also said that they had not made any financial gain, which is of course one of the main charges against them, from the exploitation of the 6 women who the police say are involved in this case.
In the Senegalese capital, Dakar, protesters have been calling for officials accused of mismanaging COVID-19 funds to face justice. A recent audit into the spending of more than $1 billion of state and donor funding found some serious discrepancies. This included overbilling by more than $4 million for rice that was to be distributed to the poorest households. Protesters called for the resignation of all those implicated and for missing money to be reimbursed. A mass has been held in Rome for the seriously ill former Pope, Benedict XVI. It was led by Cardinal Angelo De Donatis, vicar for the Diocese of Rome. The Vatican says the condition of the former pontiff, who is 95, is stable. The top-flight Saudi football club Al Nassr has announced it signed the Portuguese striker and national team captain Cristiano Ronaldo for 2 seasons. The club has described the signing as one that would inspire Saudi football. Media reports in the Gulf states say the 5-time Ballon d'Or winner is likely to be paid more than $200 million a year. BBC News.